welcome to the Consulate, and I thank you very much for taking time out, despite the incremental weather and difficult driving conditions to be here. And this is the very first open house which the Consulate is organizing. The purpose of this open house was to get a direct feedback from people and community leaders on issues relating to visas, consular services, and anything which pertains to the consulate which you have in mind. And of course, we are aware that many people had issues on visas, on passports, and many other things. But we are continuously trying our best to streamline the whole process and smoothen it to reduce the inconvenience caused to people by establishing direct channels. The first thing which we had done was to have a direct email contacts given to the people on our website. This is the form mail which anybody can use to reach out to us directly. And in fact, there are various officers to whom the mails can be addressed there depending on their on the services. But also there is a direct email connection to the consultant's office and to me personally. So many of your mails, I do get it, and then we make effort to see that your issues are resolved immediately. So that has been a useful exercise so that we know what are the issues. When I visited certain other provinces like Michigan, Detroit particularly, the community there also sent me a list of questionnaire saying that these are the most common questions which our community members ask us. So I said, why don't you compile it and send to us? Then they sent to us, and then we were in the we could answer some of them and send it back to them, and they could then share this with people. And then we are also trying to put this, incorporate this into frequently answered questions on our website, so that these are the same questions which anybody else would be doing it. All my officers are working in a very positive framework of mind, so that many of you know that we are dealing with him directly also, and our effort is to resolve it. Now, you are aware of our officers, but let me introduce Mr. N.J. Gamte. He is the key person who looks after the consular visa matters. He is the head of the consular section, and you have been dealing with him for the past 2 years now. He's one of our fine officers. Mr. Banerjee on my left, he deals with the community welfare part of it. That means if there is a destitute Indian or harassed housewife or anybody else in that category, besides his other responsibilities which are economic and commercial work, cultural work, educational work, so he is there. He is a little quiet person. You invite him, he may not so easily accept your invitation, but you have to kind of lure him into your functions. Bengalis have sometimes told me that, oh, you have a Bengali, so he's a Bengali. He's a fine Bengali. Of course, can you all introduce, please? I think I'll give you, I think you start.
Hi, this is Manisha, and I look after, I'm the Vice Consul. This is Manisha, and I look after OCI.
OCI. She looks after the OCI. She is very prompt in giving responses and trying to resolve the issues.
Hi, myself Vishwapal. I'm Vice Consul. I deal with passport, PIU, and miscellaneous service.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Anuradha Negi. I look after visa work. Thank you.
Okay. We also have, Mr. Vicky Jain from BLS. He is on a visit here, and of course, Mr. Neeraj. He is based here from the BLS. They have also set up a call center now, which is based in Chicago for the entire US. So we hope that maybe with that also there may be some streamlining.
He's very accessible and doing a good job.
So I think you have all the people here, so you can ask any questions which you have. Anything that you like to begin with? Now, our point is that since all of you are very important members of the community, today because of the bad weather we couldn't get many other people, you should convey this message that our main effort is to ensure that we provide the right kind of services to all of you. Sometimes it is possible that individual cases may take a little bit more time for various reasons. But on an average, that's what I was given a briefing by the people, that pendency is almost zero now for us. Almost zero. I mean, I don't say zero, almost zero. Visas are being issued within 3 days. Most likely in 2 days you will get a visa after it comes here. If the moment they send to us, you are getting in 2 days now, you are getting in 2 days. The moment the BLS sends to us here, then within 2 days flat, it is going back to them. So this is something that even also Mr. Vishwapal is there. Significant streamlining has been done for PIO and passport. You are sure to get a passport within 1 week, 100%. It is even likely that you may get earlier also depending on the workload. So when this kind of issue is there, then when this kind of expedited services are there, I think the community members should feel reassured that the consulate is there for them. But despite all that, there may still be issues where something is overlooked or something is not addressed properly, or people will find that there are some issues to be taken up. We are available. Now, many questions people will have: what to do in certain cases? Why do you need renunciation? Why do you need this? This is the forum where you can ask any question which bothers you, and then we can answer it, and through you can do that. Renunciation, I think after 2010 it is compulsory for everybody to have. So you may, in the past, you must have got visas even for 10 years without renunciation, but after 2010 that has become compulsory. But this is a day's job. In fact, you don't even have to do it separately. Once you apply for OCI or visa, the same application you can have the renunciation also, and it can be rendered along with that same thing. Some of you Bohra community members may be from the other side of our borders. I know that you are very much eager that I should address your queries also. Of course, we welcome people to go to India, but there are certain procedures which we have to follow, and we don't deny visas to anybody, but we expect that the documentation has to be complete. Sometimes, especially among the Bohra communities, you want to travel very fast, you plan in the last moment, that puts us in a little bit of inconvenience. If you plan a little bit ahead, we have no issues at all. We have also certain categories of cases which have been brought about to our notice, especially from the Gujarati community, Sikh community, of those people who are here without any legal status. Many of the people are without any legal status, and they have not renewed passports for 10 years, sometimes 15 years. In fact, we recently addressed a case where a lady almost in her 70s had not renewed the passport for 23 years. And she was going to India along with a Gandhian. He was again in his almost kind of 90s or 100s or something like that. And we did facilitate her travel. But anybody who has not renewed the passport beyond 3 years, the process takes a little bit longer time. And because we really need to know during that period whether the person has acquired any other nationality, whether the person has involved himself in any activities which we need to know. So the more the documents which he or she can provide about the citizenship status, then it becomes easier for us. We have been receiving requests from temples and gurudwaras that we could extend our outreach through your medium, and we are very much open to this suggestion, because we know that if we go to a temple or a gurudwara on a Sunday, we are at the same time able to reach large number of people. Nowadays, the nature of the services which we are providing, it is not possible for us to make a passport or issue a visa in those camps. But certainly our officers will be able to guide your people there on certain issues, able to answer your questions. Maybe we will also be able to render the renunciation service. So at least that will be some exercise, and we are going to begin with this, locally in the Chicago area first with temples and gurudwaras. Then we would like to extend this to other areas beyond that thing. And if any of you, if you are outside Chicago, want us to conduct a camp, you can do so. We can also do this when you have, other than temples, gurudwaras and religious places, if you have a large gathering expected in some event, we can always have 1 hour and half an hour before or after or during, so that people are available. So this is what we had to say, and we will be open to questions. Please feel free to ask anything. I mean, this is a brainstorming session, so we are not going to mind if you see. We want your frank things so that we improve the thing, and also I'm sure the BLS will be there. Thank you very much once again for coming, and I'll hand over to Mr. Gante.
Extend a warm welcome to each one of you who turned out today in this harsh weather condition. I mean, the cooperation that personally you have extended in showing up today. I mean, it's a full declaration of the goodwill plus the cooperative attitude, I mean, that you have towards us. And in a way, during my 2.5 years tenure here, I mean, it's the first forum of a kind, I mean, to have a, in fact, had it been a better day, I mean, I expect more representation coming from Michigan, Iowa, Indiana, and Wisconsin, but on account of the weather conditions, they could not come. But the effort, which the whole idea behind is when consular issues are brought to us, I mean, on a personal basis, it's difficult. Amount of discussion that it has to go into technical justification that we have to put in. When we discuss in an open forum, I mean, things could be ironed out, I mean, in a much simpler manner. So once again, each of, I mean, those of, I'm expecting a few more people to turn up here, but they're still on their way. I mean, they cannot make it on time. Just be, any experience of the past, any issue that you find it difficult, I mean, to resolve, to the extent possible, we'll try to reason out, I mean, which would be to the satisfaction of the community members, as well as permissible within the rules and regulations that are hence outlined. And once again, thank you very much for turning up.
I'll ask Mr. Banerjee to say a few things on his area.
Thank you. Thank you for coming today. The community welfare basically means assisting people who are in distress. So we have a fund for that purpose, and in case of extreme distress where the person is facing hardship, or even ladies who are having hardship, so that fund can be utilized for assisting them legally or for any other purpose.
Sometimes you can even send people home if they don't have money or they need some supplement. This thing. So acute cases like this, you can always bring to our notice. We can cover it. Please, the floor is thrown open. So
I will ask a question. Yeah. My question is in the same light. In the same light which you said that people are here and they have not renewed their passport. In my office, I got many cases from the students who came on their student visas and they could not continue their education, and they are lapses of many, many years. And they could not go home because the passport is not there. They live in Ohio, Michigan, or many, many other states nearby. So what should I tell them?
Sorry, thank you. In such cases, beyond 3 years, all of them can apply for the renewal of the passport with their original unrenewed passport if they have.
They don't have.
If they don't have, then they should at least have the photocopy of the passports. We would need to make a reference to the original passport issuing authority, whichever agency in India would have referred, which issued this passport, we'll refer it to them. Let's say if the passport is issued in Ahmedabad, we will send this query to Passport Officer Ahmedabad just to check whether the person who is applied here, the same passport was issued to him or not, and the photo matches. This is the basic thing, as I mentioned in the very beginning, just to know whether a person is of Indian nationality or not. Now, suppose the more the gap, the more the person needs to prove that what he has been doing. I mean, basically we need to see whether the person has not acquired any other nationality or something like that. So this is one. Then if you are able to vouch for a person, saying that okay, exactly. So what we're saying, the person can give an affidavit, first of all saying that he is an Indian citizen and all that. Then references, at least 2 references of respectable people here, and then 2 references of people in India. That would facilitate the case. And it may take some time, maybe a month or something like that, or a couple of months, because normally when we make a reference to outside passport issuing authorities, we need to wait for 1 month for the response. So if we give like 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, then these cases could be processed. But then each case which community leaders are going to recommend, you should be 100% sure that these are the people, they have not acquired any other nationality. So then I think it's okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Dr. Sayed, I need to give you compliments for arranging this function. The relationship between the Indian American community and the consulate has always been very cordial for the last 30 years. And this kind of functions do bring us close together for the benefit of the community as well as for India. So thank you once again. Most of the issues that community members face, and as a doctor, Mr. Gant and Mr. Banerjee know I have called them quite often, the general members of the community, when there is an emergency situation, they don't know what to do. Many of them are kind of ordinary citizens, and that's when we really need the service of the consulate. And I need to compliment Sunita, Mr. Gant, and Mr. Banerjee. They always have been very helpful. But can we do something that there is somebody that is dedicated, not the usual typical answer that you get. Okay, my son-in-law has died and I want to take body to India. What do I do next? This was the question I posed. So if a common person can get that kind of guidance live, otherwise what happens is they don't know, they call the consulate and they get the usual answer. So from Temple they know, so they, Dr. Brai, can you help us doing that? Or my mother is sick, I need to take tonight's flight, I want visa today. If I go to BLS, they give them the usual line. So if we can do something that live call center can answer either by BLS or by the consulate, giving them guidance that, okay, you do X, Y, Z. The second thing, we need to tell the community that when there is an emergency and they need the visa today, just like Indian Railways is like Tatkal reservation, so same way we can charge extra fee. So let's say you charge $50 or $100 more, but give them the facility that as soon as they go there, in case of real emergency, within 4 hours, same day, the visa can be issued. The third suggestion I have, if it can be considered, if BLS can work on Saturday to receive it, or they might have an office instead of downtown where parking and everything is a hassle, where more of the communities, let's say near Devon Avenue area, if they have their office, then for the community member it's much easier. They don't have to pay $20 for parking, take day off. And if you can have evening hours, 7 p.m., then people after their job can go there, give their passport and pick it up next day. So outsourcing is good, but really it has not made much difference because you are still going to downtown, whether you go to the consulate or you go to BLS office. And I thank you for your suggestion of coming to the temple, and I'll take you up, we'll invite you and the consular officers at Manav Seva Mandir, both more like program, know the consulate, know your consular officers. So there is a good bonding between the community. And of course, I want to extend the offer to the consulate. Whenever there is any work that's related to India or anything, you call upon us and we will mobilize the members of the community for the benefit of India and the Indian people. Thank you once again.
Thank you. We have noted these suggestions. I'll respond to some of them instantly, but we'll also tell you what we are doing for emergency services. On the one which you raised, I just want to clarify also that if the period is a large period, then there is a fresh police verification which is needed. back home in India. So that's why we would need full particulars of who are the relatives and all that, and then the matter goes there, and that's why it takes this 6 to 8 weeks time. But nevertheless, since these people have been without documents for so many years, they could perhaps wait for a few months to get the thing sorted out. Now for, you mentioned about the Tatkal services. Indeed, there are Tatkal services, both for passport as well as for the visa. And Tatkal services for visa is the same day service. The people can go to BLS, tell them that it's a Tatkal service. We have now worked out with them that they can refer it to us if they have any doubt whether a particular case is Tatkal or not. Of course, all death cases, all medical related cases, 100% is Tatkal. In fact, I went to even a little bit extent of saying that you as a businessman or a doctor, if you have to attend it urgently, go for a conference or go for a meeting, business meeting, that also could be classified as a Tatkal, provided you show that you really need to be there and you have made your other arrangements and things like that. So people are open to it. That is for the same day visa service. And Tatkal could be anywhere from 1 day to 2 days, because in any case when we are giving normal visa in 2 days, Tatkal has to be less than that. So this is there. And for emergency things, see, previously we used to have a Saturday service, like 2 hours of a Saturday service, but then we have dispensed with that service. Instead, what we have done is that we have given a mobile number on the website, which mobile number is available with an officer on a holiday. Weekdays we are all here until 6:30 and we are reachable, but holidays becomes a problem. So this mobile number is available by rotation with each one of our officials, so they can call that number and tell the person that there is an emergency, medical emergency and all that. And there is one India-based person, there is a local recruited person. They are on call every holiday. That means every weekend. So it can be Saturday, it can be Sunday or anything like that, any other closed holiday. And once they are convinced that there is an emergency, they will come down on a mutually agreed time, render the service on a holiday. So no issue about that at all. And if anybody faces difficulty in availing that service, or where you feel that people are not responding on that number, please tell me, and we will make sure that the person who was supposed to be holding that number on a particular day renders the service responsibly. But now so far, I think ever since we started the service, we have not received any complaint about people not holding it. Anything on this? Who's, for example, today, who's on duty? Who's supposed to be on duty? You are on duty. Like for example, if we had not had this open house, she is actually on call, and I'm sure you're having your number?
Yes.
What is the number? Can you tell, please, for the benefit of people?
Is the website?
Yeah, but still you can tell the number of the mobile, or number of the mobile, so that
I don't memorize it, sorry.
everybody should memorize it. Of course, because we render the service, so we don't.
That's a permanent number.
That's a permanent number. Please, let's take this number, please. It is 312-753-8530. 312-753-8530. So, yeah, please.
753-853.
30. Please. You had some questions, please?
Mr. Dr. Sayed, Mr. Banerjee, Mr. Pate, Mr. Nagi, thank you very much for giving us.
Nagi ma'am, it was mine.
Thank you very much for giving me this, especially the Bori community, this opportunity to come here and explain our case to you. Referring to your previous statement that you said that we are always in a rush. I understand that. Life and death, nobody knows. This unfortunate thing happened in India, and we were up against the rock. We were only given a window of 3 days to reach India, and said we could not come for the burial, and they told us we have to be there in 3 days to pay our homage and our condolences to the family. What happened was we were up against it. We were running around, getting 1% there, and the Jamaat on the hand, the whole masjid on the other hand, were trying to give out letters stating that this is what it is, and once a letter coming from the Jamaat only going for that particular occasion should be cleared by the Indian Consulate, because it's not an individual applying for anything, it's the masjid who's behind it, and they will be responsible for the people who are applying for it. And when that thing happens, right, it becomes very hard for us to come here for a day, spend the time to drop off the stuff to BLS. Then BLS, on the other hand, has some issues. So then we have to come to Consulate, have Consulate people call up BLS. Mr. Kante, Ms. Negi has been very, very appreciative of it, and they've been very helpful in providing us the service and expediting that. So that is the only problem that we have, is that certain people up here, I am basically a born Indian, raised in South India. My parents moved in 1970 after the war to Pakistan. I stayed in Pakistan for 4 years. In 75 from Madras, I have my Indian passport with me, my Indian birth certificate with me, I have my Indian school living certificate with me, right? And I went to Pakistan.
This case is first time case. How many we have cleared now? 100 about 50. No.
Your passport. So now I have my Indian passport, which some people said they could not find it. I have the original one stating the date when I left India, went to Karachi, stayed 4 years in Karachi because my parents were there. I was only 15 years old.
Right.
I came to America in 1981, and I have never been to Pakistan after that. Now when I apply up here, I get 3-month visa. Now the problem with our community is that we only have 3 basic major functions. One is in January 6th, because the 1-year ceremony for the Sayyidna that passed away, that is January 6th right now. Because the English calendar and the Gujarati calendar, the Bori calendar we have, exactly has 11 days difference.
Yeah.
So next year it's going to be 6th, after that it's going to be somewhere around the 24th, and so forth it will go on, right? And we have one more function that comes up, is the Ashara, Muharram.
Yes.
That are the 10 holy days of Muharram. Right now it's going to be somewhere in November. October. It's going to be in October. And then one more function that we have is in May.
What is that function?
That is the passing away, the yearly Barsi jo bolte hum, that is of his father, Dr. Tahir Saifuddin Mohd.
Okay.
Right? Those are the only 3 functions the community goes and travels. Anything coming from a community, special, we want to make the forum very simple. And whenever a visa is applied from a community, and the letter from the masjid comes to you, saying that these are the people going for this particular occasion, they are cleared.
Alans, I got your point.
Yes.
Thank you. I tell you, you said 3 occasions. Of course, this we are all aware of the passing away of Sayyidina, and then a lot of people are going there, and we have, in fact, all my officers have been working to clear most of the cases. In fact, almost I think they cleared 50 cases recently, and also last Muharram when a lot of people were going, they did it. Of course, the festivals where you are going, for example, Ashura, you know the festivals in advance. You know that the next one is in November or next one is May. So what I would suggest is where you know that these are the known festivals and where you know the dates also, and we also know the dates, we expect you to apply much in advance. 2 months ahead you apply. There is no issue. If you want to say, okay, I'm going for Ashura and I need my ticket, you have booked your tickets and all that. If you apply 2 months ahead and if you don't get it, then you please come to us. Give us clear 2 months. So if you're going in November, then obviously you should apply sometime in August or even before. There is no harm in applying. Now what happens is that when you are applying like this on the basis of your Jamaat's letter, and because there is a death of the spiritual leader and we are clearing the cases, these cases for Pakistani origin people, see those of you who were born in India but left for Pakistan, you held an Indian passport but you have later obtained Pakistani thing, you are classified as a Pakistani origin person. That applies not only to Bohra, it applies to anybody else, whether he is a Muslim born in India going to Pakistan or a Hindu born in there, we see whether the person has acquired a nationality. So that is what it is. So it takes some time. We are not again emphasizing that we don't get it, but you need to plan in advance. So once you are giving you visas in this thing, we are giving you visas without waiting for the mandatory period which we need for our processing. So since that thing has been bypassed and you have been given visa, so you cannot automatically presume that once you have got a visa, the next visa should also be given to you. So if it takes time. So if you plan ahead, there is no problem. Especially those people who are holding dual nationality. If you are a US citizen of Indian origin, you need only 2 days. Tatkal, you need only 1 day, a few hours. So there is really not a big issue at all. Yes, please.
Sir, thank you for holding the forum. This is a very good for us to relay, the problems that we have. And, like you're saying for Ashura, I had applied in May, and my passport was with the consulate, and then in August I had to travel. So, everybody had applied together, my husband and a lot of our Jamaat members had applied together. And in August, because I had to travel, I had to take my passport back. Everybody got their visa in October. In November, when I had to go, I did not get my visa on time. I missed the first 5 days. And we only have 10 days.
Right.
So just because I have to travel and the passport is with the consulate for so long, that, what if you have to travel in between?
Now, I'll just also clarify this. Anyone, you don't have to keep your passports in the consulate at all. Once you have applied for a visa, you can always withdraw your passport while your case is under process. So that means you're free to travel to any third country in between without affecting your travel plan, and your visa application will still be valid. If your particular case, I'll have to see, and if any of you in the audience who are having their visa applied and not issued to you, the officers who are here today will try to look at your specific cases to see whether we can resolve it today itself. Now I think May, you're talking about May 2013, right? So now at least I'm pretty sure that these things won't happen now, because this window which you have, you should avail of those windows first of writing directly in the form mails and things like that. So we are sure about this. If you have applied 2 months and if you don't get it, we are bound to give it to you. Unless there is other thing where your documentation there is a shortfall.
And
this something you are talking about visa or an OCI or something?
No, I'm talking about a visa, and for that I had a 5-year multiple visa, and I have traveled to India multiple times on that visa. It's not that I had a visa and I never went. So
After 2010, there have been change in instructions. So I know, as I told in the very beginning to somebody, that even if you had held 10-year multiple visas before 2010, the process is different. See, we ask for the Indian nationals, American citizens of Indian origin, Indian Americans, renunciation certificate. The same thing we ask for people of Pakistani origin. Exactly the same thing. There is nothing, extra that has been asked. So, for example, if somebody says that I have a Pakistani passport and I have a US passport, because Pakistan allows both the things, so we can give you visa on your Pakistani passport. If you do not have a Pakistani passport, or you only have a US passport, you are expected to get a renunciation certificate from the Pakistani consulate before you apply here. We cannot make an exception to this, because we don't make an exception to our own Indian people. So that is the thing, it's a complete parity. So you have your documentation ready, and then we are prepared to give a visa, that's it. So if you have individual cases, Mrs. Negi will be available until 1 o'clock, so you please talk to her. I'm also available. If there is a way we can sort out your pending issues, we can definitely take it up. Any other question, please?
Just
on the
one more comment on this stuff.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying about the 2-month visa period that you're giving us, and for the occasion is in March or April. Say for example, let's take literally, the occasion is in April. We would like to apply in January, so that we can get it.
Sure.
But the only problem is that we only get 3-month visa.
Yeah, that's the rule which I can.
I understand. When we get the 3-month visa, right? So what happens now is that for month of November, if I'm applying somewhere around September, my visas are expiring in November, end of November.
No, you got it wrong. What you could do is that you can apply in advance, but you are forgetting this. Our office actually tells you that you can take the visa just before you're leaving. You can just take the visa 1 week before you're leaving. So you will still have 3-month validity to spend in India. You don't have to take the visa right away at the time of applying. So that option is there. Which country gives you this kind of options? Tell me.
No, that's the reason we didn't know about this.
Yes,
See,
yes,
that's
so
the only thing. We didn't know about it.
No,
because if you are going in November, we would like to do it in such a way that if it is sometime in October or first week of November,
Yeah. Give me a copy of the mail which you have been sending to Pakistan. Any mail, just test mail, I'll read out.
So because
I'm going to read out to you, she is bringing a random mail which she has been sending to people of Pakistani origin who had applied for visas several months ago, where the clearances have come. What kind of mail she is sending, I'll read out to you in front, so you would know that this is there. So after knowing this, you would appreciate that this kind of flexibility, no country in the world will give you that you apply, you come bring your passport whenever you need. So I think better you follow the procedures and get your visas and go back and come. So there is no issue. And also please remember, if a visa is denied to somebody, we have a reason to deny a visa. and we don't have to cite the reason why we are denied. So visa is a matter of sovereign right. We can deny anybody the visa if we feel that that particular person should not be given a visa. And that is not subject to debate because that's a sovereign right of my country.
No, I understand that.
Yeah. Please, you have something?
Sir, I was just wondering because you said when we apply for the visa, we don't have to submit the passport.
Yeah.
So is that okay with BLS?
You can submit and withdraw the passport. Yeah.
So we have to come back to pick it
You
up?
can withdraw. We can work out the logistics. When you
Yeah, when we intimated them that the clearance is also.
You see, once they apply for the visa, the passports are with us for 4 months, 5 months. We don't take the passport. They can withdraw the passport.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, तो कब कर सकते हैं? कब withdraw कर सकते हैं?
No.
Okay, you see, once we check the documents, once you apply for a visa, and once we see your original passport and things like that, let's say a matter of a week or something like that, once we see it, you can always withdraw it. And while your application is still, your application is not withdrawn, but then you are withdrawing the passport. I mean, we do get this thing from people that when they apply, if there's a likelihood that the visa is going to take time, we can always withdraw the passport, do their other travels, and then come back when you get it. Okay, I think there was no information, but now I'm telling you, this is what I think the BLS should also, if somebody wants to withdraw their passport, not the application, they are free to withdraw and then you can facilitate that. Okay? Yeah. Mail which has been sent by Mrs. Negi to one person. His name is Aman Ahmed, Software Development Manager something. Your visa application has been processed. Please intimate your confirmed date of travel to enable us to grant visa. In case you do not plan to travel in immediate future, kindly pull back your passport and you can come to the consulate 2 to 3 days before your travel date for issue of visa. For any clarification, you can call on this number and send an mail and all that. So this amply clarifies this thing. That means you have this option. So if you are getting a 3-month validity, you can just get it 1 week before your travel, and I think that's okay. Yes, please. Any other? Yeah,
I got a question for you.
Please, yeah.
Okay, my sister and her husband are divorced, okay?
Yes.
Her husband is from Pakistan and she's from India. Her son, is he able to get an OCI or no?
The son is holding an American passport, I think.
Yeah, he's American born.
Now, as far as the regulation of OCA is concerned, I mean, it's a privilege that's exercised by the government of India for any individual who can trace their lineages, I mean, to acquiring Indian citizenship.
Right.
Now, in this particular case, if the child was born when your sister who is holding the Indian passport.
No, we're United States.
No, I mean, if the child was born when she was holding an Indian passport, the child would be having the full right to obtain the OCA. Now, the child, I presume that if he or she was born when a secondary citizenship is acquired, then I mean it becomes a matter of technical consideration. I mean that yeah.
Citizens. We weren't born in India.
What about your sister?
We were all born here. Even my sister.
Your sister had an Indian passport?
Never. We were born here. We were born in America. So we have U.S. passports. My parents are born in India.
Your parents are born in India. So if you can trace back the lineages through your grandparents from 1950, yeah, they will be entitled. I mean, but in the event that the child ever holds any other nationality which is, I mean, of neighboring country, I mean, they will not be entitled to. That is including not only Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka.
But he's born here,
yeah.
so he's only a U.S. citizen. So can he get an OCI or not?
That has to be established through the
You see, it also depends on the child's thing. It depends on the custody. Who's
my sister? So
your sister is the custody. I think what we could do is that since it's a very specific case with I will ask my officer to sit with you immediately after this meeting. She can look at the full details and then give you a pointed thing whether we can issue it right now.
Right, because the other problem is, he applied for a visa back a couple of years back for a 5-year visa. You guys denied him a 5-year visa, gave him a one-time 3-month entry.
Yeah, there may be issues, because there may be issues because it's very difficult for us to comment on individual cases in the public forum. We can say general thing, but individual cases, we can have a look at the papers and then tell you, and you can just tell us the paper, and then I think the visa officer will be there and say, okay, what kind of thing will be there. So, of course, as an American citizen, American citizens are eligible for up to 10 years multiple visa. I mean, up to, I'm saying, not necessarily everybody would get 10 years, but you could get up to 10 years multiple visa. But it all depends on case to case. As I said, we can't specify. There has to be like, who's the spouse? Is there any other connection? Is it completely born in India and become a US? Absolutely no issue. If you're born in third countries, then there are certain other things apply. Any other, Dr. Barai?
Now, this is a new issue that came up. One of the community member, I was trying to pull the email. He applied, Mr. Manubhai Patel, he applied for a visa for his mother, who has US passport. And somebody, I don't know whether it is BLS or Consulate, asked for the naturalization certificate. Do we need that if somebody has a US passport?
Renunciation, that's what we say.
No, this is the
naturalization.
Naturalization certificate.
Do we need it? Why do we need
So maybe the parents' nationality or place of birth may not have been clear. So what happens is, when a person applies for a visa, we have to look into whether the parents were born in India or Pakistan. To rule out any Pakistan-born people, Pakistan origin people, we have to, in case we have any doubt, we ask for a naturalization. Otherwise, we don't.
Now what happens is, because she is a 80-year-old lady, she naturalized 25 years ago or something, she has lost it, so what shall we do?
The passport, US passport also says the place of birth, and supplementary documentation should be there. Normally we are very liberal with anybody who is elderly. Very, very extremely liberal. So, this may be one-off case, but also it goes on to the BLS thing that you have to be very, very sensitive about certain cases. There cannot be a blanket this thing, and we have been always telling that if there are issues which you are countering, at your difficulties thing, you please try to clarify the thing. For example, I just got a mail yesterday from a professor who wants to go to India, and his visa application was turned down by BLS because the application form which he sent by mail was copied back to back, and for this reason it was sent back. I have a mail for that, and I don't see that should be the reason for you to send back the application, because the application is coming all the way from there, and now we are intervening and then doing this. So people who are handling that should be aware of these things. Okay, let us say it's not a norm, but then there is an application, so there is no arbitrariness in this. You check with us, we are here, you check with us, this application has come by post from Iowa, shall we return it or shall we accept it as one-off case? While we process it, we can tell the applicant that okay, we need that other original application, he can send it by post or he can get it sent, but we will still process it. And these are all people who would like to go to India things, because it's a time wasting, like if you're sending back, so it takes this time.
So,
Certainly,
can I
finish?
Okay, sir. So, like Mrs. Negi explained, if you tell us what you are looking for, we can come up with an alternative form rather than saying, you don't have naturalization certificate, rejected.
In fact, I just want to...
No, sir, we are calling people, whatever documents we are getting, if the documentation is incomplete, and if we feel we need to know something else also, we do make a call to the applicant also, we ask for the documents on our consulate fax number also.
Yeah, one point which Dr. Barai has said, I just want to clarify on that. Recently in a meeting with Mr. Vicky Jain, who had come, in fact, if any questions on BLS, you can address to them straight away here. This is a good opportunity you have. We said that suppose, as you mentioned, fundamentally there is a shortfall in a documentation. I told them that you need not send applications back to them in the same return envelope. You keep the applications in your office, citing it as a defect. Send the person the mail email or call them on phone on the number and say that this is a documentation is needed. That documentation should be obtained and then the application completed and sent back. Right now what I think is being done is that they are sending the entire bunch back, so which is creating a problem, because if they are simply saying that we need additional documentation on this and keep the application, of course there is a storage problem and things like that, but we have to work out the solution.
I have an answer for Dr. Gurapalai. I was helping Sheila and Vijay Maker doctor, and I'm always going through Mr. Gante. So Sheila Maker, she went to Federal Building 219 South Jackson. They got a certified copy of that naturalization certificate. So you can obtain that right away. It's not 2 blocks from 55 West Van
Does it
Buren.
take 6 months? Because I told him that and he sent me back saying.
Yeah, but the price is also very high.
Price is high, but you get the certificate.
I understand. What I'm saying, if there is an alternative way to satisfy that she was born in India, it serves your purpose.
That can be done. Please, go ahead.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. One question is, like you have an American passport and you have also OCI card. And once your visa expires from the American passport, you get the new passport. Then how long we can keep that old passport with the OCI card? Is there any limit or you can keep as long as you want?
No.
You can transfer it to the new one.
Yes. There are regulations, in connection with that. For a child that is still 18 years of age, every time he got a new passport, but U sticker, we call it the universal sticker. The visa sticker has to be transferred to the new passport. And a person after crossing 50 years of age also has to. This is on account of the technical requirement that change in physical appearance. When people are young and when people get slightly above the age, the physical changes keeps on happening. Now, as long as you have the all universal sticker in the all passport and the all OCI card, you will not be denied entry to India, but you'll be given, when you're entering India, the immigration officer will say that now there's a physical change. Next time you're coming into, you need to apply for a fresh OCI card to transfer into the new passport. So it's after you cross the age of 50, or you hit till the age of 80.
But still, this is apply when you visit first time.
First time
India,
there is they will let you in, but the second time, third time, deliberately if you are ignoring it, then
You see, the rule says that if you are up to 18 years, then each time there's a passport change, you need to get a new OCI. Up to 49 years, from 19 to 49, there is nothing. After 50, once in your lifetime, after 50, if there is a change in passport, it's to be done. The rules, I do not find much logic in them, but they have been there. But just for your information, I have recently, when the Honorable Minister for Overseas Indian Affairs, Mr. Vaila Ravi, was there, we made a suggestion to him that now what happens is that each time when you apply for an OCI, even if it's a new OCI, when you get a new passport, the OCI has to come from India. We don't make the OCI here. That takes about a couple of months, 6 to 8 weeks. So technically you say you have the OCI, but you have got a new US passport, and when you apply here, you will still take 2 months. Then you say, why 2 months? Because again the sticker doesn't come from, we don't print it here, it comes from there. So our suggestion was that if instead of issuing a new sticker, if you are only asked to give a observation in the passport that a new visa sticker has been issued, so we can always give you a visa sticker and make an observation in your OCI card. So that way the time lag will be reduced. So we are waiting response for our proposal, and if that comes in, things will be very simplified for OCI.
So the second is the United States certificate. If your passport, Indian passport, is already have stamp on cancel, still you need the certificate?
Yes, we need the certificate even if it is stamp cancel, because this regulation has come much later. The cancellation was a different process, but this is not a cumbersome exercise. Let's say if you're applying for a visa and they're asking for renunciation, they're supposed to actually accept both the things together. You don't have to first get a renunciation, then the visa. And if BLS is asking as a condition, then it is wrong. Say if a person does not have renunciation, you can always ask the person to submit, along with it. So it can be done. Even if a fee is not being paid, you don't return the applications back. Even if a person only pays for the visa, but not the renunciation, there is also renunciation fees. We'll render the renunciation, but at the same time, you'll send a mail to the applicant that a renunciation was also done. So you need to send an additional amount of this money, which can be actually collected at the time of rendering or whatever. So you find a way out of this because many people may not be aware of certain regulations.
And the third one is simple. The people came from India. They don't have any status. They have, but they have a passport. They have no status. They just enter in this country, and their passport is expired. Still, they have some kind of validity. They can renew it for a certain time, or 1 year, or for 10 years, or 5 years.
I just mentioned, I think in the beginning, that those who have not renewed beyond 3 years, it takes a little bit more time. But if the renewal is less than 3 years, there is a different process we can do it. And those who are still having a valid passport, you can also renew it up to 6 months or 7 months, no problem.
And the third one, I would like to request, you were mentioning regarding the camp in Gurdwara or Camp Mandis. If we give you the date for the camp or something, what we should provide you in there when your staff comes to the Gurdwara? What should we do it?
Okay, firstly, let there be a communication from your side that, Gurdwara is, willing to have this kind of consular camp, and if some suggested dates can be given to us, we can work out mutual schedule. We don't need much from your side other than providing the venue. Rest of the stuff our people will bring, and we can work it out with you. There's no
Mr. Bajwasi, one second.
I have one question. Suppose there is
Thank
a
you,
person. There is a person who is here for the last many years, and he has got a legal permanent resident card with him. But his Indian passport has expired for the last more than 3 years. He has to go in some emergency there. Is there any call service for the renewal of his passport?
Of course, I mentioned to you, primary thing when we are rendering this service, there more time is taken for getting a clear police verification done. Now, but if it is an emergency case, we have to look at each case in a separate manner. I cannot give a blanket this thing, but let that, whatever that case may be submitted to us, and then we will have examine the case surely. Yeah? So then I'll come back to that side, please.
I have a question. Before that, I will also like to give out my experience with many of the community members. And since a lot of prominents are here, I would like them to pass it on to the people who call them. Most of the calls which I have been getting are the sleeping beauties who suddenly wake up that I got the ticket reserved and I have to fly tonight or tomorrow. And then now I check that my passport is not ready. I mean, these people need to know that they are in the United States and they might have to travel. So they have to really address their travel systems and travel documents properly. So they should be, I think the members of the community should tell everyone to be in time and not call those who have the access to the consulate at the last moment and embarrass them. So
I
that
agree.
was.
I agree. I agree totally.
So this is very important thing. It is not the job of the consulate to educate them, and I think they should know what their rights are and what's where do they stand. But now coming to the proper question. So far we have discussed the technical part and technicalities related to the travel of Indians and non-Indians in India. This question is addressed to the visa officer, that how does the visa officer's mind work? The governments, they work on the system of reciprocity. When Indians or we go to a US consulate to procure visa for the United States, the visa officer just looks at it or talks to you in an interview, and he just rejects it that you cannot be granted a visa for whatever evaluation. Of course, we know that they see whether you can afford there, do you have the links there, and whatever reason. In a nutshell, if we feel that he has no reason to go to US, he says it is denied. Coming to our sections here, how does the Indian officers decide? Do they keep that thing in mind that if somebody has no reason to go to India, he should be stopped from going to India? This person should not be going there just for fun's sake.
No, it's not like that.
This is especially valid for the people who are not holding OCI cards and who are holding non-Indian passports.
No, I'll tell you. Yes, of course, you see, every country has their own regulations for visas, and these regulations apply for different categories of people, different citizens of different countries, and there are specific regulations for those things. And visa officer examines each case with due care, and what you're suggesting is correct. He or she examines the need and necessity for a person to go there, and based on that, a visa is issued. You know, in some cases, of course, the visa has to be delayed or denied. But as I mentioned in the very beginning, that it's a sovereign right of a country that to take its own time, and that is done. But nevertheless, having said that, we do encourage people to go to India for business, for tourism, for meeting family, and all these things. So there's no person will be unnecessarily denied a visa if a person has a right to go to India. But again, to clarify, that visa is not a matter of right; it's a matter of privilege for the country to grant it. So this is the thing. But documentation, definitely we see there are rules which are to be followed. But things have become very simplified. For, of course, Indian Americans, things are more than simplified. We have the option of OCI, you have the option of PIO, where you don't need visas. But what Jitendra Bedi said in the beginning, I think that I agree with him, that sometimes what happens is that people make their entire plan. They will see when the tickets are the most cheaper, they will start planning for 2 months, they will do all the things except the visa. And then they start kind of pestering it. And I just would like to draw to your attention one gentleman who just wanted to renew his passport in Tatkal, and he came and met me on the 26th January flag hoisting day, and he was bringing all these documents, and we took the document. He had the time to visit 4 members of parliament in India and 1 sitting cabinet minister who have all written applications, letters to me requesting that I accept his application in Tatkal. If he had only approached Mr. Vishupal, who is just sitting just right behind me, he would have done it in Tatkal on the same day without the necessity for doing it. So imagine this person must have wasted his 1 month, 1.5 months chasing members of parliament in India to get a passport done here, whereas it is easy to be done. So sometimes, you know, there is no answer to such foolishness. So, what can be done? So this is basically the thing. And also, like we had one instance which Ms. Negi pointed out to me yesterday, day before yesterday. Again, a case of visa, I think.
The gentleman who didn't check his mail? Visa? What is visa? A visa.
It was a visa which one of the distinguished community members recommended, and we checked, and it was all processed, and our officer had been corresponding with the gentleman. The number which he gives in the visa application, the email which he gives in the visa application, he never picks that number, he never sees that mail. And when they are desperately making an attempt to contact, he says, I have 4 emails, I don't check all of them. And now this respectable member of community keeps on nagging the consulate, saying that nothing has been done. And finally we have to tell him, see, they are in touch with him for the past 1 week, the person doesn't see his mail. So what else is expected? So I think sometimes, these are the things which also need to be seen. Okay, please, I have to go to that madam first and then next to you. Yeah, please. Or both of you.
Yeah, take the mic.
Yes, I applied for renew the passport on April 22nd, 1913. I mean, 2013. Yeah. And still, I'm not getting any thing done.
Shall I ask you one question, please? When did your passport expire, and since when have you not renewed this passport?
On 2001.
Can I ask you why you have not renewed since 2001 and we are now in 2014, 14 years?
We do not have any status, so we don't.
Okay. I explained, I think maybe you joined later. Those who have not renewed the passport for more than 3 years, there's a fresh process, even in India. Like for example, if you are from Gujarat, Ahmedabad, you have taken a passport and not renewed the passport for more than 3 years, then you go back to the same passport office in Ahmedabad, they will take full police verification to reissue the passport. The same process will be done in your case, so you will accept the application. Already I think it's accepted.
Reference has been sent to.
Reference has been sent to Ahmedabad, so you have to be a little patient, and then we'll try to.
Is there any way we can get it done earlier, because this is emergency, we have to go to see her there?
Is there any, see, we need the status to be clarified. Maybe what we can do is that Mr. Vishpal can sit with you. If you can have the police verification expedited and sent to us by somebody, relatives there or something.
Nothing goes over there. They say they already sent the report, everything.
Is it?
We wait for 9 months.
Can we give a fax number or an email number which you can obtain from them, scan it and send to us?
If you give us the status report, then I think you should be
No,
satisfied with that.
from that office, from passport office, from Ahmedabad, they not give anything. They just send it.
No, we can, see, we are prepared to give you the reference which we have made, a copy to you, so that you can take this copy, because you may have some relatives there and all that, you can just get it expedited, because we can make a fresh reference, but we can also give you a copy. So this is there.
Please, if you
but we can
go
again have a look at your case,
Yeah.
so I'll check it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dr. Khaira, please. Yeah.
Good afternoon. I think my question is more addressing to BLS. I go around in majority of the states, all around 7, 8 states. People, they do come and try to get the visa from you guys. First, your staff over there's a lot of complaints. There was a news on TV Asia actually, a whole full that what you guys are not doing for the community people, as far as they're not considering where they're coming from, how difficult and challenging it is for them to keep on coming back and forth. I'll give you one example from myself, which Mr. Ganke and Mr. Banerjee helped in expediting. It was my mom and my brother's U.S. passport with renunciation submitted, and there was no answer given why the 10-year visa would not be granted. There was no issue. I came here, I spoke with Mr. Ganke. The visa was issued next day. Now that's just an example for a person like me who lives around here. There are people who comes from far, far, far away. If those things happens to them, it's a really inconvenience. And from BLS part, I think your staff needs to be a little bit more considerate and more helpful, especially people who are coming from far distance.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Vicky Jain and I represent BLS over here. Just to answer Dr. Sir's question, we do not have the authority to answer for how long a visa will be granted to you. We can take in your application, basis your request and the fees that has been recommended to us, but the ultimate decision is not ours. And neither can we answer that why was a visa issued to you for 3 months or 5 months or 6 months or 5 years. It's all the discretion of the consulate. And if you approach the consulate and they have worked it out for you, really, I didn't have a say in that. That's the only thing I can say, and that is what I want to communicate to all the community people over here. There are a couple of challenges we are facing. We have absolutely, improvised on a lot of things, tracking and everything. The problem that we basically face with all the people across is when they fill their application form, and as Sir just mentioned, the communication channel or the contact numbers and the emails that are mentioned on the form are the ones, I don't know why the people do not use their active ones. Because for anybody and everybody, you can try it, and you can also try it for the people who are trying to complain to you. We have a real-time tracking mechanism on the website. Anybody can check the data on the website with their application details. 1 or 2 off scenarios where there could be a delay. So please make sure that whenever you're sending us an application, the email address has to be the accurate one, because you will get an email from us for any of the status changes. The second thing is that if there is anything pending, like take for example the complaints that we get, is the application has been lying at BLS for 20 days. We do not keep the application for 20 days. Within 24 hours, it is supposed to be processed and sent to the consulate. But the reason it is lying with us for 20 days is the people are not responding to the pending document requirements. Because the information has been sent to them, those email addresses are inactive or they're not checking them. So the blame comes to us. We are constantly in touch with the consulate and we are on the adherence that we are supposed to maintain that application, a complete application, has to go to the consulate within 48 hours. And we are on that. And that's the only thing I would want to say.
Okay, I just want to add here, you know what we have also suggested to BLS is that there should be a constant update on their website. You know, suppose if there is a deficiency in documents, while they can send a mail, call and all that, at the same time update the status on their site so that people also would know that there was an update and they had not seen it. If the applicant himself had not seen it, it's different. Plus, as far as we are concerned, see, they are not the ones who are going to decide whether we give 10 years visa or not, but they should not reject an application. They are nobody to decide. So they have to accept and send to us. Here we will decide, okay, whether we can give 10 years or not. Suppose if the BLS has said you cannot get 10 years, it is not within their rights to say so. They are not government of India. They are only an outsourcing agency. They have to go by the government's guidelines. They cannot add their conditions. They cannot add their own things to that. They are merely as a facilitator. So there was a suggestion why they are not open at 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock. You should ask them. If they are a service provider, they should be available to you beyond office hours. They are not a government of India or any government office to only stick to this 9 to 5 schedule and all that. It's up to them. You know. So in fact, I had been in different places where people were working beyond office hours and things like that. So this is something completely different which you should see. Please, backside. Yeah.
My name's Ahmad. I have two things I wanted to address today. One is towards BLS. My wife recently applied for a visa and stuff, and you guys received the application and stuff, and it's regarding your fees and stuff you guys collect. I understand everything has fees and stuff, and I know you mentioned earlier that if something's not done properly, they would send everything back to the applicant. In our situation, I think for the 10-year visa, it's $157, I believe, somewhere right around there. We sent a money order to you guys. Something was wrong. I don't remember exactly. She filled it out. She got the whole application, passport, everything back, but the money order wasn't in it. I called BLS personally because my wife's in med school. She doesn't have time to keep calling you guys. Personally, I probably spent 3 hours trying to get a hold of someone on your phone number lines. Like I said, so the customer service on that is not good at all. I know somebody else earlier mentioned. Like I said, I spent 3 hours calling one after another, trying to get a hold of someone. I spoke to somebody and they said that when you do submit the application again, you're gonna have to send another money order. You just forfeited that money. I don't understand why you would.
I can answer.
That was one of them, and then the other question was towards the Indian Consul General. I'm an American-born citizen. My parents are Indian. My wife's an American-born citizen. One parent, her father is Indian. Her mother is born in Pakistan. We're all American citizens. I know somebody else earlier mentioned we're American citizens. What does the Consul General look at when I apply for a visa to India? I know you ask information about my parents being India and stuff. That is if I'm applying for an OCI or PIO card, I understand. But if I'm applying for a tourist visa, just going out to visit relatives for some time, I know I don't have the problem with my wife since one parent is Pakistani and one's Indian. Why does she get so many problems? I mean, she's had 10-year visas all along, but recently the process is, I know you said something changed in 2010. I'm not exactly sure what changed, but I understand that there's different policies and stuff, but why doesn't a US American-born have one relation to India, one relation to Pakistan, have a problem going back to their home country? I mean,
You should meet separately, I'll tell you what the problem is. But there are regulations for different categories. Now, on one thing which you please, Mr. Jain, we have received numerous complaints on one count, is that while the BLS is very quick to remove the checks and things like that, deposit in their account, and not link and then send back, as he is saying, send back his application. So if you are sending back the applications, you have no right also to kind of deposit the money in your account. And there has been a complaints received with us. We have complaints where the checks have been encashed, but the application had not been processed. And I tell you, and I can tell you publicly, that each and every case where we find that BLS is not doing things properly, we have imposed penalties, and we will be imposing penalties. And if there is a serious thing, if we have rendered them this service, that means we have provided them with a passport after the visa has been stamped, and if they take more than 24 hours or maximum more than 48 hours, and if they do not dispatch it, each person has a right to kind of seek explanation, and we can go to the extent of even imposing penalty on BLS if we find that after you have taken the passport from the consulate, if there is a needless delay in dispatching. So that you have to put your house in order, and this is the thing. And if anybody also gets any kind of complaint, you please tell us freely and frankly. And also one more thing is that there are certain fees which are mentioned for the BLS. If there is any fee which is charged, even $1 more than what is stipulated, that also is supposed to be told to us. So because this is extremely important, that no extra charges over and above what is specified has to be given for the visa processing fees. We don't know about any other thing. Yes, please.
My name is Surya Chandi. I am representing Fokana and the Kanaya Catholic Organization. My name is Surya Chandi. I'm representing Fokana and the Kanaya Catholic Organization. For the most part, for emergency purposes, the consulate is doing an outstanding job to helping us out. But my main complaint is, since from Travisa to BLS, I see there's like sometimes 15 days, 20 days for just a visa. You may have an answer already, but since I came late, I would like to know why it's taking sometimes 10, 15 days for just to get a visa. Before it was, you give it to Travisa on one day. The maximum was you get a same day service or next day, no matter what. And also people who has contacted us, there's a problem, and there is a lot of problem, and there's something that made to them. If you go to the BLS personally, it's not that problem. But whenever mailing, it's a lot of issues with that. So I would like to get an answer for that.
The prime reason for the postal applications that get delayed, and for the ones that you've said that it has taken more than 15 days, as I said it in the past also, that we cannot keep any application with us which is a complete application beyond 48 hours. We have to submit it to the consulate. This is our agreement with them. So as sir rightly mentioned, that we're going to be imposed a penalty on that. So I cannot. But for the cases that you're saying which have been there with us for more than 15 days, have you actually checked, were they delayed because of the pending cases or pending documents?
It's not pending cases. It's, you can pick it up 10 days later. I mean, the visa will be ready in 10 days, okay? You're not giving the next day,
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about, is that when an application comes to us, we process the application, it takes 24 to 48 hours for us to process and submit it to the consulate, and there it's a working time which is actually, we trying to work it out on a 3 days, but then we have it for at least 5 to 7 working days. That is the time that the consulate also requires. So that is the entire duration of an application.
But this was not there when
with Travisa it was the same.
Okay, Sirak, I'll just answer you. You see, we had received complaints like what you have told us. Now we have started a process of surprise inspections of BLS premises without telling them. Officers have gone. Last week, Mr. Gangte, last Friday, Mr. Gangte and Mrs. Nidhi, they went there. The prime thing is to see whether the postal applications are being processed or not. Because normal tendency, as you said, is that you're going to the counter, it's happening quickly. But that it's not possible for everybody to come to the counter. Imagine people coming from a different state or things like that. So the easiest thing in a country like this is to send by mail, FedEx or any other thing. So there has to be a system, we want a very well-oiled system where they keep seeing the things, and postal applications should also be disposed of in a daily manner. And of course, not all applications will be deficient. Those which are deficient will be minimum, like maybe 5%, 2%. Those could be kept aside. And that also a system has to be formulated where you immediately get in touch with them. And these postal applications have to be also opened quickly, and then within matter of 48 hours it has to be submitted. Before you came, I mentioned that we are now, as far as the consulate is concerned, there's almost zero pendency for visas. That means there are no pending cases, except when we say pending cases, we are talking only about Indians and Indian Americans. So, so this is I clarify. So it takes taking 2 days for those cases for us. So when it is taking 2 days, so if you work backwards, see those persons who go to BLS, let's say today, it's a working day, they're supposed to give it to us the same day or the next day, so that takes 1 day, 2 days in the consulate and 1 day back them. So in not more than 5 days or 4 days, the person should have to get it, maximum 5 days. This is for the counter application. Add 2 more days for the postal application, and again 2 more days for delivery that way. So this is the time frame is there. So, but as far as the consulate is concerned, normal course 2 days. So technically it is possible for a person to go to the BLS counter, apply and get the visa on the 3rd day itself. An emergency, I mentioned that it is a Tatkal service which is there, which you can get also on the same day. So this is there. But I think there is something which you need to look at for the postal applications. Yeah.
So, you're right. The maximum I take 3 to 5 days, but I guarantee there was issues where where I contacted Andy in December, it took more than 5 days. Like I said.
Also, there was one particular thing, I think, because this 2 weeks, 3 weeks earlier when we had this bad weather, where I think they had to close for a couple of days because the staff was not available. So that particular period, there was a huge pile up. Not only on their own directly, but I think also from the third parties, because they were all closed. So suddenly you had, hundreds of applications lined up. So if it pertains to that period, that's an exception. But normal course, I think it should not. So I think perhaps when we meet, next time in a meeting like this, I hope to get a better feedback, and all that. Anything from the sports club?
मैं तो हिंदी में बात करता हूँ।
बिल्कुल आप पहली दफा भी पहले शख्स से जो हिंदी में बात करें मैं बड़ी खुशी हो रही है।
जो सभी बातें हो रही हैं, हर का सलूशन जहाँ है पहले से है, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है। लैक ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन, फॉर एग्जांपल एक आदमी आता है जहाँ वो आके बोलता है मेरे पास 10 साल का वीजा था, पहले अभी मुझे करवाना, उसको कोई ऐसा नहीं है, मेरा इंडियन पासपोर्ट का है। वो आके बोलता है मेरे को वीजा चाहिए, बोलते हैं तुम्हारा इंडियन पासपोर्ट कहाँ लग गया, उसमें उसके पास है नहीं, उसको कभी नहीं बताया जाता जी पर पासपोर्ट नहीं है, उसके लिए आफ्टर लॉस लेके आओ, या उसकी थर्ड ऑप्शन है वो लेके आओ। ऐसा सिंपली नहीं बता दे जहाँ जो वीजा सिस्टम का, उसको जस्ट लीव जस्ट गो फ्रॉम हियर कर देते। इसका मेरे कहने का मतलब सभी चीज़ें वहाँ है, जहाँ है सभी भी आप एक्सप्लेन कर सकते, कोई मुख्य मत पूछे। और जब जो काउंटर पे लोग आते हैं उनको प्रॉपर इन्फॉर्मेशन दी नहीं जाती। एक हमारे पास 10 साल पुराना पासपोर्ट नहीं है, जाओ इधर नहीं है। अभी एक एप्लीकेशन हम लोग ऐसे है, उसके पास 10 साल का वीजा था, 10 साल का वीजा एक्सपायर होने के बाद 3 साल के बाद डिसाइड कर दिया जाना था फादर से का, एप्लीकेशन सबमिट किया, उसका वापस भेज दिया। अब उसको पहले बोल के भेजा ऐसा पासपोर्ट नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं है, अब आफ्टर लॉस का भर के देखो एप्लीकेशन भी सबमिट, बस स्टिल हैज बीन सेंड बैक। वो उसका ये जो लोग एक बताते हैं हमको ये आप चीज़ नहीं है, उसका दूसरा अल्टरनेटिव क्या है, वो भी उनको 1-2 ऑप्शन होनी चाहिए, वो बता देनी चाहिए ये नहीं है, ये नहीं, एक कर सकते हैं। For example,
you got what he's saying. Basically, what he says is that if the applicant is deficient, you are simply rejecting. Your people are rejecting, saying that the applicant is deficient. If there are ways where the applicant can be processed, the options and other things should be given to them. And I also told you chaps that suppose if they do not have clarity on a particular case, they can ask the applicant to wait for half an hour, 45 minutes in the office and not outrightly reject it. They can pick up a call, all the officers are available on the thing. You see, we have a case at the counter, he is having this documentation. Can we do it in a different manner? Can we accept it, or what are the things? And on the spot they can guide. Or if it is not possible to guide on the spot, you keep this thing separately, ask him to come next day, instead of outrightly saying that it is not possible, because you can check it. That's what maybe they are expecting.
उसके बाद ऐसा कुछ यहाँ भी लोग हैं विंडो सर्विस आई वाज सिटिंग हियर फॉर 10 days 3 weeks एक lady was 70 year old with the king. She just simply walk here. There's some gentleman sitting there. She said, my son is disabled. She came from, I heard from her city. I came from Glenelg. Only she come to here to know how she can get the travel document back. The gentleman said, bring him here. Bring you what you have. I don't know what you have. They didn't tell her anything but 20 minutes. He was loud. I was getting mad here. She's 70-year-old lady, whatever, son disabled. They should explain properly. If he doesn't have a passport, something bring it. You belong to Indian city and whatever. I know everything there. Mr. Ganke, Banerjee, I'm doing for the last 7 years. Everybody in Midwest, almost 95%. Go to Ajay Lakhan. Anybody Gurdwara, any on Midwest problem, hey, call Lakhan. Lakhan. Pradhan is my nickname now. And I got everything has been solved. But there are a lot of, मेरे को मालूम है जो सभी है जहाँ कुछ, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है, मगर उसको proper guide नहीं किया जाता।
Ajay Lakhan is a very active community member. He has been, bringing issues which are affecting the community, and he interacts with the consulate to resolve these matters. And he also points out very frequently shortcomings at both ends here and all. I know that sometimes, there are days when people, there are dozens of people, so counter people, as you're right, that they are the first point of contact, so they should be aware of the thing. Sometimes when your regular people are not there, instead of closing the counter for a long time, you pick up a chap and then ask him to sit there. So that's the time when you may have a situation where the fellow is not properly informed or ill-informed, but where even when you have pointed out certain things, we have taken a serious note of a person who is simple. Again, for same thing goes to them, because if they don't know the answer, they should simply check the answer and then provide. There is no excuse for this, so I think I can see.
One more thing.
Yeah.
एक और बात है, जो लोग यहाँ इमिग्रेट जो वीजा लेके जाते हैं ऐसी कंट्री के अंदर आ जाते हैं, उनके पास पासपोर्ट होता है, उनका पासपोर्ट एक्सपायर हो जाता है, फिर मैं समझता हूँ आप उसको रिन्यू नहीं कर सकते, और कर सकते 6 मंथ के लिए कर सकते हैं।
मैंने बताया आप अभी लेट आए, इसलिए मैंने पूरा प्रोसीजर बताया 3 साल से पहले, 3 साल से
मेरा
बाद।
फर्दर क्वेश्चन इफ यू कैन समथिंग क्रिएटेड, जैसे मैक्सिकन और दूसरे लोग जहाँ हैं, हम बिजनेस में हैं, सभी लोग, काफ़ी लोग बिजनेस में हैं, हम लोग लीगल उनको आईडी चाहिए, बाय द लिकर और बाय द सिगरेट और मूव अराउंड हियर और समथिंग और गेट मैरिड वाला। जब दूसरे लोगों की जो सी एम्बेसी हैं बाहर की, उन्होंने आई कार्ड दिए उन सबको, उसका जनरल इन्फॉर्मेशन लेके पासपोर्ट रिन्यू नहीं करते, फाइन, उसका कोई चक्कर नहीं है, मगर उसको कुछ आईडी कार्ड सिस्टम शुरू होना चाहिए जिससे वो लोग जहाँ लिव तो कर सके ना, जहाँ लोगों तो इनको प्रॉब्लम इतना ज़्यादा नहीं है। और दूसरा जो एम्बेसी का अप्रोच ऐसा होना चाहिए, दे शुड ट्राई टू बी मैक्सिमम हेल्प, नॉट टू बी सेट बैक। अब तो लास्ट पॉइंट, अभी तुम सारी जगह से मेरे को पकड़ लिया, कभी हेल्प करेंगे, ऐसा होना कि हम बढ़ के हेल्प करें थोड़ा।
There was a suggestion which came also from your side and earlier, and directly to me, to others. We have raised this issue with authorities concerned whether a card can be issued, but as of now there is no such thing. Why this issue is coming up, for those of you who are not aware of this, that the Illinois government is issuing driving licenses to people irrespective of their legality or legal status. That's why many people are approaching for some kind of a documentation or renewal of the passport, so that at least they will have this thing. So we at least for a few months before, we were not even accepting these applications for renewal, but now at least we are accepting and processing it. So this is important. We right now do not have a system of iCard, but your suggestion has been noted for consideration to see whether this can be done. I cannot introduce this myself because it is beyond my jurisdiction. It has to be a decision taken for the entire country and for the other things, and there are various things to be considered. So we will definitely, your suggestion has been noted, but I cannot make any commitment on this.
Last thing.
Yeah.
जितने भी कौंसिल जनरल अमेरिका में है इंडियन और एम्बेसी है, शिकागो इज द मोस्ट बेस्ट. जब पूरी अमेरिका से सुनते लोगों की स्टोरी, यहाँ जैसी सर्विस कहीं भी नहीं है. फिर आप क्यों कह रहे हैं कि आप लोग का सबक होता है? नहीं कहता हूँ, मगर कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट की जा सकती है. इससे जो बाकी है, इससे वर्ष है. जो बाकी जगह है, इट्स द बेस्ट. मैं कम्प्लीमेंट देता हूँ, ये सच है. जो पूरा अमेरिका के अंदर ह्यूस्टन की बात कर लो, सैन फ्रांसिस्को करो, कहीं भी करो, न्यूयॉर्क में, कैलिफोर्निया में हट गया वो बाहर साइड में विंडो से भगा देते हैं, भागो. सेम.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Can I say something?
Okay, जरा जोर से बोलिए यार, सुनाई नहीं दिया. कुछ आप अच्छा बोल रहे थे इनके बारे में.
My name is Beena Patel and I have been helping community people for so many years. I can say you have set the tone, very positive tone for your staff and for BLS people. You are very humble, very eager to serve the community, best customer service so far, and आपने हमारे लोगों का दिल जीत लिया है. धन्यवाद.
Just a point to note, sir. Let me just introduce myself. This is the first time. And even Mr. Kante, Ms. McGee has been very helpful to us. But this is the first time in a big forum like this. Let me speak in Hindi. आपने बोला हिंदी पसंद है आपको. ये जो चीज़ आज हुई है ना, it has never happened before.
That's right.
और आज ये चीज़ ऐसा प्रूव करती है कि भाई you are actually stretching your hand to us and saying, come to us. What's your problem?
Right.
और ये पहले कभी हुआ नहीं. और आज हम लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि नहीं भाई you are not out of reach. You are not untouchable. You are there. All we have to do is just do our part right, and you are always helping us. Thank you for that, and thank you very much for all that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your invitation, and you've done a lot of things which the other consulate did not do. You pick up very soon, very quick.
We'll coordinate on our camp.
And Gangsti ji help us a lot every day.
Let's have a big round of applause.
I just want. I've been dealing with the Consulate for the last 10 years, but I just want to congratulate you guys to take this time to coordinate a meeting like this. Okay, this is the first time in my knowledge. It's the first time something like this happened. So I think I want to congratulate you for taking this taking this time to make a meeting and at least to know what's going on. A lot of times, people in the past, they don't even know what is happening in the community. So I want to congratulate you guys, and I in my opinion, you guys should do more of these, whenever you can. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? I think maybe last word.
Do you think
My name is Naran Patel. Consulate office has done a wonderful job having this open house. But my suggestion, is it possible this kind of open house can be done somewhere in suburb? So instead of this many people, maybe hundreds of people will come.
Okay. It's a very good suggestion.
I can offer my
Okay. So I think maybe we can do it next in the community center in the downtown so that people can come. Or even we can do it one with Pokana and the community.
Every year, one day.
Not every year, very long time. We are doing it every quarter or even a day. Okay, last word to you, I think, before we close it.
Thank you, Dr. Said. Thank you for organizing such a wonderful interaction meeting. A few questions, of course, you have applied most of them. I'm actually a tour operator also, I do a lot of tourism business. So I come across to these problems. Of course, I'm in touch with Mr. Gante most of the time. Sometimes these quick conferences are there, scientists have to go this and that. Some of them are, suppose, Pakistan born, settled here a long time. But in emergency cases, if they have to go to attend the conference and come back, and actually some of them have their manufacturing facilities in Goa and some other places, especially in the pharmaceutical industry. In that case, what we can, I think I had heard that somebody who is over 60, for them, I think it's easy to get the visa. 65, okay. So 65, over 65, it is easy to get visa.
Subject to this.
Yeah. So that.
What's your question? Exact point.
Yeah, especially for the academia and the scientists, etc. If we want to give you 1 month notice, will it be easy to get the visa for those who are going to attend the conference or any academic things, for that?
Okay.
You see, when you organize conferences are
Yeah.
organized in India, and then participants are coming from different parts of the world, each of these conferences are cleared with the authorities, and the authorities also send us the list of participants. And once those conferences which are already cleared by the concerned ministries and with the list of participants, those list of participants are already available to us. In such cases, absolutely no problem, whatever the nationality, once it is cleared by the agencies and the name figures of the participants, then it is easy for us to grant. In some cases, there are conferences which are taking place, but people have not applied before and they want to go. This is a different category. So I think you yourself gave the answer that the more the lead time, the better it is for us to complete our formalities.
And what about the business visa?
Business visas are also given. There is no problem. For this, there are
What
of
is
course a
compromise?
requirement that of course if a business person is going there, he needs an invitation letter from persons in India and all the supporting documents, and based on that we can see it. And of course, if you're talking only about non-Indian American and non-American citizens, it is better that they apply a little bit in advance so that we get more time to process. Otherwise, issues are okay. Okay, thank you so much for joining us, and we are, officers are available for the next few minutes or so, whatever. Then you can please, if you need to get some clarification and anything. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say something. I think this is a nice forum. And especially, thank you all for coming. But when you have any issues in reaching out to the BLS, and I just wanted to let you all know so that you can pass the message across of how can you reach on our website, on the contact page, there are two options of raising an inquiry, which is pertaining to the documents that you need for filling in the application form, and there is a escalation ticket. So I would really recommend that you ask your people to raise those tickets over there. I know that right now, I think we've been able to resolve all the tickets within the 48 hours, and we are moving ahead to make sure that we resolve those tickets within 4 hours. So I'm working on that. We have the call center already working in India. The call center definitely was a problem for us, so that's the reason we started it in our in-house vicinity. So these are the two means wherein you can communicate with us. So I hope, and we're definitely trying a level best to make sure that we respond to all the issues on time. But just make sure of one thing, that one person tries in the desperation to reach out to us. He sends in so many queries, which unnecessarily increases the workload, because there are a lot of duplicate queries that are coming to us. So just have faith in us, and we're going to get back to you within 48 hours.
Yeah, also, I think there's a good point also, because we also our officers face this thing, that suppose if a family of 5 has applied, the person will send 5 different mails for the same thing. You could send the same thing, then it clutters the mail, and then also it's very difficult to this thing. And also for some of the community members, if you if somebody asks you for assistance, you could also do your preliminary query that, okay, is it only 1 day or is it 2 days? So now that we have given you our time frame, so suppose if it is like really more than 3-4 days it is pending here from us, then you can, if it's only a couple of days, then it's different. Of course, it's an emergency case, we have also said that it's a tatkal thing which you can do it.
दूसरा ये लोग इसका इनका मीडिया सर्विस है, जस्ट मिड वेस्ट में 10-12 गुरुद्वारा सिख टेम्पल, मोस्टली पंजाबियों का ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम आता है। मैं अग्री हूँ चीज़ से, जितना इनका आता है किसी का नहीं आता। वो जो लोग एप्लीकेशन प्रॉपर नहीं भरते, मैं हम चाहते हैं कि गुरुद्वारा में लोग वॉलंटियर सेवा कर, जैसे बोलते पंजाबी वॉलंटियर लोग, इनके थ्रू को ऐसे लोग ट्रेन कर दें कि जो वहाँ जो संडे की दिन सर्विस उनको सर्विस दे सके, उनका एप्लीकेशन वगैरह प्रॉपर भरा जा सके। उसके बाद बिफोर दे सेंड द एप्लीकेशन, that should be done proper.
In fact, when we do this exercise, we thought we do it in gurudwaras and temples. We'll work out how best we can make use of that forum, so that not only guiding people, but also guiding them to fill a form and things like that, making a sample form available, and also maybe sometimes we use volunteers from the Punjabi community to also see whether locally, if you tell them in their own language how to fill an equivalent in English, maybe we'll work out this thing. Very good suggestion to you. Thank you once again for all of you to have come in a very, very bad weather. Thank you once again. Thank you.